This is the Barbell VooDoo Podcast with your hosts, Roy Mangrum and Jamie Free.
All right, we're recording.
We're recording?
We're recording. We're
all right.
Semi-live.
So this is it. This is the first one.
Number one. Uno. So this is Roy Mangrum with the Barbell VooDoo Podcast. My co-host, Jamie Free. We're today, CrossFit Combustion. So if you hear a lot of noise in the background, there's some fitness going down in the background. So we'll try to filter out most of that as we go forward, and we'll do the best we can.
I think it's pretty authentic to be in a CrossFit gym when, we're doing these. It's kind of cool. You see regular people working out, what CrossFit really is. It's about the community, and it's about, making sure that everybody, every type of body. Like, I'm looking out here, there's every type of person out here.
Every type of person?
There's like 7 people in here in an open gym, so every type of person I can see right now.
That's true. And our podcast studios are not finished.
I mean, I didn't even know we had one. So
well, we don't.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
So
we'll keep me on the need-to-know basis.
On the need-to-know. So I just, I guess I heard the rumor. I guess it's not technically a rumor. As of this morning, you're going to regionals. Is that a true statement as far as we know?
I mean, as far as the numbers go right now, we were just waiting on, for some reason, Scott Panchek to accept his individual invite. I didn't know if he was going to go team or not. His brother and the other person they had went individual. So,
right.
We were just waiting on him. And then all of a sudden we popped up from 20th to 15th. So take the top 15.
Right.
As of right now, I think based on what the rules say, we may get an email.
That's awesome. So,
and that's CrossFit Vector United.
And do you know when the emails will go out, or?
I think they said Tuesday, so we're looking at the 19th, yeah.
Confirmation on Tuesday. So this will be, for the people that don't know who you are, most people do know who you are that's listening to this. Of course, we have 0 subscribers at the moment.
Yeah, so you know
so
who
I know.
I am.
So
which
yeah,
is nice.
Everybody listening right now knows exactly who you are. This will be your second trip to regionals, 2013.
Yes. 2013, I went
as
as an individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that? What's that experience like, especially, your first trip there, the butterflies?
Oh, the butterflies were huge. I mean, you have tons of people watching you work out, and my first day, I ended in last place. I started to think if I even belonged there. I didn't even know. I was like, man, people are going to think I cheated to get in here. People are going to think that, like, who is this guy? But thankfully, I had a little bit of vodka that night and calmed myself down, and I was able to fight back and into 30th place. So I moved up 12 spots,
Awesome.
which was really nice.
Awesome. So and that was 2013. So between 13 and 16, what's Jamie Free been up to?
I disappeared as a missing man. No,
You had some injuries.
had a lot of injuries. Right? Shoulder injuries. I hurt my shoulder at regionals. Hurt my right knee the year after that, and so that's 2014, 2015. And then finally, somewhat healthy, started doing ROMWOD, got massages and a lot of ART. I'm almost 34, so I have an old body. And it just seemed to come together this year. I ended up in I think it was 62nd in the region, which is my best finish since I went. So.
Wow, that's awesome. So, looking at, and I kind of was thinking about this this year during the Open.
Mm-hmm.
We always here at Combustion when we're programming, getting ready for the Open. Mm-hmm. Greg throws in a ton of repeats. Mm-hmm. So, looking at some of them and looking how much has that landscape changed as far as who you were competing and where your fitness level was in 13 versus 16. What's that?
I wish I was this fit in 2013. I would have done a lot better. The problem is everybody's that fit.
Right.
So everybody's getting better, and they're getting younger. So, I mean, we have a guy in our region that is 18 who's finished 35th. Hal Fisher.
Oh, yeah, Hal Fisher, yeah.
So, I'm 34 going against 18-year-olds, and they don't have the wear and tear. They don't have college football in their bodies. Like a lot of us that are our age, played sports in college.
Right.
We were former athletes, and these kids are coming out of high school, learning how to lift at gyms like this, it's one of those things where it's making it that much more competitive. And then they dropped down to like 20 from each region, and it's like, all right, well, there goes my individual thought process. I guess I'll just shoot for team, which fits my skill set a little bit better that way.
It just seems like, and I guess it's the evolution of any sport, of anything, that fitness curve has changed, where what would get you to regionals in 13 now, where would that even, I don't know, where would that even put you?
It puts you about 62nd, which is not good enough to get there. But I think that with people getting paid more money, people getting sponsorship to work out, essentially, I mean, these guys are making good money, or at least moderate money, off of sponsors, and Reebok's paying them, and Grid League's paying them, and they're making this money, and they don't have to work. They work out and they recover. They work out and they recover. Obviously, Rich being the gold standard.
Right.
I've worked out with him a couple of times, and he works out and he recovers. He eats. He works out, recovers. I mean, he's a machine, and I think that's what these top guys have to be.
This is full-time job.
Full-time job. A lot of these, and you're talking like the top 15 to 30 guys in the world. They all do that.
Yeah.
And then there's the other middle group that they're piecing it together at this point. They're grabbing a sponsorship here, a sponsorship there, and they really have to work for it. But they're still working out 3 times a day, making sure that they're recovering properly. It's just they have to work a little bit harder for it.
Yeah, I know. Like, some of the people that are going team. I know a couple other people that are on another team. One of them's a full-time cop. How I'm in my mind, I'm like, how do you find the time to get that in?
It's hard. I mean, I own 2 businesses right now, and I'm pretty much work my rear end off in between my 2 workouts. So I work out in the morning at CrossFit Vector for about 2 hours, and then I go.
Well, your morning is
4 a.m.
4
Yeah, I
a.m.
start at 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm in the gym at 4 a.m. stretching and getting ready to work out. But so I'm starting there, and then I start my clients. I go to the store and I work there, and then I'm on to I strength and conditioning coach at a school midday, and then I have clients in the afternoon, and then by the time I get home around 5. I hit my second workout. Usually it's a strength portion or a Metcon. So, it's my day's split up. I'm always doing something. I've been going to bed earlier, which is nice. So I'm in bed by like 9 at the latest.
Here's something. This is not something we plan on talking about, but I've kind of been curious about it. I've heard the positives and negatives, training so early in the morning, how, I think the argument was your testosterone's 30% lower or something. I think it's one of the things I'd heard. Myself, I have to train at 5:30 in the morning. For me, that's the time I have. If I don't train then, probably not going to be able to fit it in unless it's 9 o'clock at night. And I try to, like you were saying, I try to go to bed a little bit earlier. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts, opinions?
I mean, it's a necessity at this point. I don't. If I didn't have to work out at 4 o'clock in the morning, would I? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just what I've been doing. But I mean, most of the time it's long, high intensity interval sprint sessions on either the assault bike, the rower, or a skier. So. You don't really need a whole lot of testosterone to push through that. You just have to do it. It's a mindset at that point. And then if I hit some sort of, technique or mobility at that point, and then later in the day I'll hit strength and something like that where, I have a lot of calories in me, I have plenty of energy, and I can go ahead and finish that off.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, it's really what it comes down to is how are you differentiating yourself in terms of your recovery process? Because everyone has a programmer, everyone has the opportunity. There's tons of people that do nutrition now, myself being one of them. I know what I'm doing, and that's how I manage to stay at this whatever level I'm at. But, how are you going to differentiate yourself is recovery. Are you using a Mark Pro? Are you taking ice baths? Are you doing ART? Are you doing all the extra stuff that's needed to make sure you're ready the next day? And I think that's where people are making leaps and bounds, is they're ready to go that next morning, or that next midday, no matter what.
Yeah. And that the recovery part is huge because, I think anybody can get into a gym and, put in an hour, train, we talk about it here a lot, what'd you eat last night for dinner? How much water have you had? How many hours sleep? The basics, not, and some of those other things, of course, on top of it, but, your mobility is an issue. How many minutes outside of this gym are you spending on it? Oh, none. Okay, well, you're sitting in a chair for 8 hours. Are you going to make any headway? Not really, You got to put some work in outside of here too. One thing I wanted to ask you about, you was talking about your nutrition background. So, and I may have this totally wrong, but at one point in time you worked for a hockey team. Is that right?
No, I was in professional sports. I worked for a minor league baseball team, so the Oakland A's AAA organization, and then I worked for the Sacramento Kings in the NBA.
Okay.
But that was more as marketing.
Okay.
So I handled a lot of business to business work. So I didn't start really doing nutrition until about 2007.
Okay.
With Max Muscle out in Natomas, so Sacramento, California. Right. And then I just fell in love with it, man. It was one of those things where, it just made sense to you. Like everything I was doing, I was just doing because I was good at selling it. I was good at sales, and this was more the checks and balances of what your input and what your output is, what works best with your body. I just like the science behind it, and I just fell in love with it, and I've been studying it ever since.
So, for you, is there a lot of, in the beginning stages of that, is there where you're kind of like testing on yourself, kind of?
I've tried everything.
Yeah.
Like I've tried paleo. I've tried that Carb Night. By John Kiefer.
30 grams of carbs, 30 grams of fat every couple hours, I think it is.
And then there's the carb backloading. I tried that. Actually, I tried that when I went to regionals. And I got bod potted at like 6% body fat doing that. I was like 224, which is way too heavy. I was strong, but I couldn't move well.
Right.
I check in at like 211, 212 right now, and that's just doing kind of my own thing, eating balanced, and spiking it around workouts, making sure that I have plenty in my body to utilize, but not too much. With too much in your body, you're gonna eventually turn that to fat. So,
that is true.
Different, and there's no one way to do it. And I think the problem out there with nutrition right now is like people are like, "Oh, here's a template, just follow this." Well, that's not made for you, and you're not like me. Your body's not the same as mine. So, and I've done a little bit of research on some of the ones out there, and I've purchased some plans from some people just to kind of see what they're doing, and it's just the thought process that one person is the same as the next person, and you can just dole out, essentially take people's money and give them something that someone else got.
Cookie cutter programs.
Yeah, cookie cutter programs. You can get that at Muscle and Fitness and for $6.99 if you want to go pick up a magazine, and I just don't believe in that. So
well, and the thing, with my background in powerlifting, of course, it was how many cheeseburgers could you eat during your squat session, which was usually 3, but.
I'm impressed. That's awesome.
Well, you had to start early as you're warming up, which is another thing. Now that I'm around CrossFit, the whole concept of warming up was totally foreign because, back in the day, your warm up was trying to get your briefs on and then rubbing icy hot on your knees. Knee sleeves are on.
Heat was on in the car. You're okay.
Yeah, that was the warm up, but which I kick myself now because I see so many mistakes that I made back in those days that would have made a huge difference. Probably not, but it would have made some difference.
Yeah.
So you left stuff on the table, but you can't turn back time. It is what it is. You learn the lessons and you move forward. But
Well, I mean, I think about that sometimes when no one taught us in college how to, because it was a Division III, no one taught me how to lift. And if I knew what I knew now then, I mean, it makes me that much better of an athlete, going in, more explosive, knowing how to use my body properly. I think that's really, with all the crap out there about how CrossFit's bad for you, that's what I've learned the most is how to utilize my body to the best of its ability. And I think that's the thing that frustrates me the most about people who don't understand that is they just don't get. They think that every study that says CrossFit injures people. I mean, I've seen people, ultra marathoners, get rhabdo more than anyone else. No one talks about that. No. I think, one of the things that's great about CrossFit is that, and just the thought process of this type of workout is that it incorporates powerlifting. You have your strength programming. It incorporates your running. It incorporates, ski. I mean, who has a rower in their gym? But there's professional rowing.
yeah,
It incorporates so many different aspects of what athletes do all in one space. So, I think what it really comes down to is coaching at that point. And, while there's some great coaches out there, it tends to be few and far between between boxes.
You're exactly right. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. What really brought me to the table with CrossFit was, being around powerlifting since I was 15 years old. That was when I did my first competition at 15 years old, and it was such on the fringe. Like, it was, no one talked about it. It was, if you caught World's Strongest Man on TV, I felt like, hey, that's us. Even though we're not doing those movements, we're just squat, bench, deadlift. But it was
big guy lifting stuff.
It's big guy lifting stuff, and it was bastardized, I guess, for a better choice of words. Bodybuilding, it was there, but it was like one powerlifting magazine. You had Powerlifting USA. If you didn't get that, you didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And then, got to give all the credit in the world to Mark Bell, Jesse Burdick, for those guys
making it mainstream.
Making it mainstream.
Get a Reebok deal out in front of everyone. I mean, I see super trainer stuff everywhere. I mean, I own a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what he's done is he's taken a lot of the stigma out of it.
Yeah.
So he's approachable. He's easy to talk to.
And I like to, not to use the professional wrestling analogy of pulled the curtain back so you can see what's going on, but these guys are meatheads. They're all stupid. They're all this. They're all that. And he's kind of pulled that curtain back where you can see what goes in, and you can think powerlifters are stupid. Sit down and listen to Louis Simmons talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, reading his books. I have his book of methods. And just reading his book. Actually, I also have the one that's a really good read. Is sport-specific training.
Right.
He has it. I mean, he's not a dumb guy.
No.
I mean, he's incredibly intelligent. He knows. He's good at what he knows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's stuff that I use with my athletes. So, can't be that dumb.
He's got a couple of guys that are pretty strong, and a couple of guys pretty strong under his watch. Yeah. So I think he has figured out the whole strength game.
He's done okay.
He's done all right. They got a big supplement line about to come out. I see.
That scares me.
Yeah.
What kind of supplements?
They are legal supplements.
Legal. Okay.
Legal supplements.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Yeah, that'd be for another podcast.
Yeah. Well,
all right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This is of course the first one. So
you may not hear any of this.
You may not. Yeah, I probably will delete most of this because I stuttered and stammered the whole time.
Gives it personality. It's okay.
It does give it personality. So next week we're going to be in Cookeville, Tennessee. On site. Mayhem for Mustard Seed. We're going to try to grab a couple of people, pull them to the side, spend a few minutes with some of the athletes and just personalities of people walking around. The whole purpose of what we were wanting to do is there's a million podcasts out there, there's a ton of fitness podcasts, and everybody has an opinion. And, my biggest thing was the stories.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stories. Everybody's got a story of how did you get here? And it's a lot of interesting stuff. And just I've picked up over the past year and a half, being around a lot of these people. I'm like, how does people not know your story?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
there's a lot of inspiration. I think that's one of the things that's been great about CrossFit and learning about it is the inspiration that comes from what adversity people have gone through. You know? So I mean, right now I'm looking at a firefighter. I'm looking at a power lifter. I'm looking at probably...
We have a preacher back here.
You get a preacher. I mean, how many times are you going to have that all in one room working towards the same goal? Yeah. I think that is what CrossFit does. It allows everybody, no matter what your background, to be into fitness. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to look the best, but you're going to perform the movements properly and you're going to get the best time that you can get. And I think that's the beauty of it.
It's the journey.
It is the journey.
It is the journey. All right, so Jamie, people can find you on the interwebs.
Interwebs at 27health.com. That's TWOSEVEN health.com. Just mainly a blog and how I talk to people about nutrition.
Do you do the Twitter machine?
I think it's Free Fitness 27. And
Instagram?
Then Instagram is 27 Health and Wellness.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, so next week, we'll do this again, right?
Sounds good.
All right, hope we didn't screw this up, and thanks for taking the 22 minutes and listening to us babble. See you guys.
See ya.